Good afternoon, Yomide.
Yeah, good afternoon, Ines.
How are you doing?
I'm good, I'm good. My name is Yomide and a final student of mass communication, University of Ilorin. And presently I work as a designer. And I've been designing for a couple of 5 years. And I think aside just designing, I also write. I write on my Medium page. So I think for now, that's all about me.
Okay. So the dream of every student coming from secondary school to get admission like straight up into university and with their parents and your level, the vibe. So can you share with us any bits of what you remember on your first day in school as an University of Learning student?
Yeah, trust me, I was very enthusiastic about coming into the university, and there's a bit of God's plan in the whole of my story, especially coming into the university, because when it comes to me myself, whenever I want to do stuff or make decisions, I always like to jot my plans down. So I had a plan that I was going to study law, and my plan B wasn't going to be law. My plan B wasn't even what I'm studying presently. My plan B was something around anthropology, something around philosophy and the like. So, but I didn't get that. Now, when I wanted to study in the university, I knew I didn't want to study in Unilag. I wanted to study in the north because I don't know, I just love the northern people. So, when it was time for me to gain admission, I applied for ABU Zaria, but then I got a lot of backlashes from family members that you can't go to the north, the weather condition there is not suitable, and a whole lot of backlashes like that. And then we're trying to now find a way for me to go to Sokoto, but that didn't work at the end of the day. So somehow my auntie has a husband who is working in University of Ilorin, and someone was like, why don't you just do a change of institution to University of Ilorin? And that's how I found myself here. And remember, I wanted to apply. I wanted to study law, but at the end of the day, my cutoff mark didn't reach for law the first year. Second year, I tried law again, and I wasn't still giving law. I was giving mass communication the first year and the second year. So my first year in the university, as much as I was enthusiastic about coming in, yeah, some of my expectations were not really met because I ended up in a university I didn't want to even come, or a place I didn't even know so much about. Because while I was coming, I read a lot about universities, and I wanted to study in the north, and the courses I wanted to study as well, law, didn't come in. So everything was more like what you planned. It was like what you ordered versus what you got. So that's how it was for me.
Thank you very much for that. You said you're engaged in quite a lot. You write, you graphic
Uh,
designer, you're a student, and that. How do you balance everything together, being a student of mass communication? How do you get that balance?
okay. For me, sometimes I really do not believe in the word balance. Yeah, I don't believe in the word balance. When you say balance, you make it look like a perfect world where everything can exist independently on their own or in their own world. It means that I can design whenever I want to design, and I can write whenever I want to write, and I can be a student whenever I want to be a student. And that's not true, honestly. To be very honest, I've never been able to balance them. I think what I've just been able to do is that I've just, like, how do I put it? I just make a lot of sacrifices, and the sacrifices is that I'll be very honest with you. If you say you want to do too many things, at least one will suffer and one will always thrive. You understand? So when I started off, I didn't start off as a very good student. I started off much as a very good writer. So I was writing, and trust me, writing gained a lot of interest, and I wrote very, very well. But being a student, yeah, I was lagging, and I was also trying to come up with a design style, start off as a designer, and that wasn't also working, but writing was working. So in 200 level, I said I was going to be a better student. My student life was now improving, my design life was also improving, but at the expense of my writing life. So in 300 level like that, I was just making a change. I was making a change. But now in 400 level now, what I do is that whenever I'm just inspired to write and I have something to do, maybe a student life to do, or maybe a design to do, I just pen them down and just jot something and go back to the other one. So it's just from the back and forth. That's what I've been doing. There's really never been any like balance for me, honestly. Yeah.
Well answered. You've been a student in the school for over 4 years.
5 years.
Right.
Yeah.
What will you say is the quality of learning you've had so far?
Okay, quality of learning. If I'm going to say quality of learning, I'm going to put it into different contexts, and the context should be one. the quality of lectures that our lecturers have been giving or dishing out, then the quality of students that are around, then I'm also going to be looking at the quality of student clubs or student activities. So trust me, my experience in that one has been very, very profound. Yeah, it's been very, very, very profound. The quality of lectures that I've been receiving from my lecturers has been quality, even though we may not be exposed to a whole lot of practicals, but these guys really know the theories and these guys really explain the theories to us. And I like that they give us an education that is experiential, meaning that they want you to learn something, they want you to know something, and they also tell you that there's still a lot more beyond what you are knowing. So they give you the opportunities to go and learn. And that's why most of the times we have very, very tedious assignments, from photojournalism to documentary writing to investigative journalism. After teaching you, they give you one kind of crazy assignment that's going to take you off your feet and it's going to put you outside of the school and stress your life. But truth be told, I think that it comes with a lot of reward. It comes with a lot of development and all. So that's how it has been for me.
Okay. You said quite a lot about, the rich quality your lecturer has given you so far. So on a scale of 1 to 10, the quality of what you've learned so far is on what? On a scale
On
of
what
1 to
I've
10.
on
Yes.
on what
You've learned so far in school. On a scale of 1 to 10, what's the quality?
I'll give it on 1 to 10. I'll give it 9.
9. That's
Give it
quite
now. I don't want to give them 100%. Nah, not to give them 100%.
right. So what is your favorite course so far? And tell us about it. What did it change? What did it open your eyes to? What did you learn from it?
Ah, my favorite course. Damn, I never thought about this though. I think I like every course, but yes, there's one particular course I like the most, and maybe it's because of the lecturer, and maybe it's because of the interest I've picked in that field. So it's going to be in international communications, and we also did something similar in global journalism. And I think in 200 level two, we did something around international relations. So for me, those international stuffs are very, very interesting. I've found just interesting. It's not like as though there's really anything rewarding in those courses, but because we talk a lot about some of the things I used to read while I was young. So I was exposed to books and videos around Adolf Hitler, books around Benito Mussolini, the guy of Italy, exposed to books around Baron de Montesquieu Lewis, and a lot of these great leaders. I read a lot of leadership books and all. So having to know the contribution of these guys to world politics and global economy is just very, very fascinating. And it was very interesting that my lecturer, that's in person of Dr. Mustafa, also picked interest in these guys and was able to break them down, able to tell us from a critical point of view the contribution to the society and the back and forth and all of those interesting things. And in global journalism, we look at things like humanitarian crises, we look at things around feminism, we look at things around warfare, we look at things around terrorism, and a whole lot of things. I feel like it's a lot of storytelling, it's a lot of history, and that's what just made me like it, honestly. So those three courses, they are just the same thing, but we're just doing one was related to international communication, one was international relations, then one was global journalism. So they were all almost the same thing.
Seems like you had a very good time learning from that course.
Yeah, yeah, I did
You
actually.
really enjoyed it. So,
Yeah.
can you tell us what was your grade?
My grade. I like other people. I don't know how to put my grades on my head. Honestly, I don't know how to put my grade on my head. But I know, and I know in international com, I think I had a B in it. That was one we did practical, with cleaning practical. I think I had a B in international com. For international relations, I know it was a C. That was political science. We did that course in post, so I know post is always C C C. Then for global journalism, I can't remember where I had global journalism. I think we did global journalism in 300 level. I think it was in 300 levels, so I just can't remember. But I know Intercom, because it's Mustic course and we don't always do Mustic course often, so it was a B. Then international relations was a C.
Okay.
Yeah.
You seem like a person that don't measure like what you learned with whatever grade, like the quality of what you learned or what you gain with whatever grade you get. So what do you think about people that actually measure like the quality of what you learned or what you know with the grade the person gets? What do you think about that? And what do you think can be changed? What do you think can steer up around it that can actually
Okay.
change it?
Okay. Honestly, I'm a person that I always do not like to quantify my level of knowledge based on the grades. However, the grades are also very, very good and important because it's the grades that usually justify, or the grades that it serves as a form of proof that okay, you've learned something, or okay, you've known this thing to an extent. You understand? But there's always that gap. There's always that line between both of them. So um, for me as a person, I'm always concerned, and I share in the philosophy of one of our lecturer, Professor Aziz, when he said it in class. That's when I had like a better representation of what I've always had inside of me. He says, "I'm not always teaching you for you to have first class. I'm not teaching you for you to have A. I'm not teaching you for you to pass. He says, I'm teaching you for you to know." So I was like, okay, then I'm like, but the way he said it sounded very funny because it made it sound like if you are teaching me to know, am I not supposed to pass it? You grab. So for me, it felt like a conflict of interest. You understand? So as a person, as much as I want to pass, I'm not desperate about the grades. I'm much more desperate about knowing that thing 100%. And that's why in class, I do more of listening than even writing. I personally do not like to write in class. Like, if I want to write, I just jot things. But I do more of listening in class. I do more of going outside to watch videos, talk about class activities so that I can know. There's really none of our courses that I can't remember something around it. I know so many things. I remember stuffs around it, but I don't even remember the grades I had in them, honestly. And I think the issue around some people is that most people have like the best grades in these courses, but ask them questions around it. They don't even know anything around those things. And I feel like it's not a very nice thing. It's not good for Nigeria generally. You see, one thing about education that I know is that education comes with a lot of burden as a student. In fact, if you are going to school, if you are going to university, you're not going to the university for yourself. It's a burden because, like one of our lecturers always says, that we are enjoying a subsidized education. So it means that the government is having to reduce the money students or people have to pay, especially federal university, not state and private university. They have to reduce the amount of money that people will pay to study because they believe that when you are done, you should be able to come up with a solution to environmental or political problem. I know at the end of the day. So education comes with a lot of burden, and that burden is not something that you should now reduce to just having good grades. Nah, it's a lot more because I still don't understand the idea of coming out of school and you're not looking for a job. I know I understand here in Nigeria is bad and all sort of stuff, but having to go to school comes with a lot of responsibility, and those responsibilities, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? How can I use what I know to form a solution or create something? Not my grades is this, my grade is that, and I'm so desperate about having the mark. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. I don't know how to paint an imagery to this, but I just feel like education is a lot more beyond all of these grades. And I feel like Nigerians, as much as the grades is very important, but Nigerian students, my colleagues, youth, and generally, should not pay so much attention to the grades. In fact, when you're having the grades, it's more reason for you to pay more attention to the society. While you're paying attention to the grades, that you want to be the best at this and that, you should also know that that course you are studying, that field you are studying, you should be able to come up with a solution around that particular field. It doesn't have to be one big solution. It can be maybe one small thing. It's just like, for example, maybe you're studying engineering, and like in the competition I went for alt prize, somebody developed a solar powered machine that helps baby incubators or something. So it can be something around that can just work for only maybe just one or two local hospitals. That's it for me. That's simple solution. That's the idea of education. Yeah.
That was well detailed.
Mm.
And hold on. So you, in all you said so far, I can see that you've involved yourself in quite a number of things, and I definitely believe that you have memories around it. So tell us about the most memorable thing you've done or experience you've had in university that you can't forget.
Okay. I think I've had a lot of good memories and I've had a lot of bad memories that I can't even remember honestly. But for me as a person, I think one of my best memories will be working outside of the class. Every activities I've done outside of the class, and I'll be relating it to. Let's start with my experience at Alt Prize. Like 3 times I participated in Alt Prize competition, and I think my first year we didn't qualify to the on-campus stage. Then my second year when I applied again, we came up with an idea around fast fashion. Yeah, and for me, and we won that particular competition. We won that one, and the third one was fast fruits, And I think beyond all of this winning and all, nah, those things were not it for me. The thing for me was around the fact that I worked with people who were not even in my class, and they were just random students and colleagues that I just connected with. I remember when I was going to do fast fruits in my second year for alt price, I just told the light tech, I said, guy, I want to do alt price again. And do you know anybody who's interested, who's probably ambitious and wants to come up with a business idea, blah, 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 and all. And he just connected me with one girl, Victoria, and we started off the competition. And she introduced other people. She brought in a friend, and I brought in some of my colleagues, Samod and Karat, and they just came into my head. I'm like, who can I add? Who can I add? Okay, I think Samod is smart. And okay, I think Karat is also in fashion field, and that's like we brought them together. We brought ourselves together, and because I was a part of the organizing committee, I couldn't participate in the competition in the pitch, but I was actively involved in everything we did. And when we won the competition, I was so happy. Honestly, I was so happy that that's it for me. And I think one of my best memories again will be in 100 level or 200 level, where Elitek and I, we represented the faculty at the M8 Verbal Combat of University of Illinois. That's a debate tournament. And one thing about Elitek and I was that our friendship was based on debates. We met at the Freshers Oratory contest. I didn't represent my department, but I was the second representative, and Elitek represented his department and he won. So from there, the eyes were already, the executives, they had their eyes on both of us. So when it was time for them to pair people who were going to represent the faculty and all, they were like, Elitek and Yomide, go. And almost all the rounds, Elitek and I, and trust me, that was when CIS was just joining the debate club. Then we didn't have active participation. So we were the one who really started like that active participation. The numbers was a lot from us then. Not like I'm not trying to dishonor the other guys who have been there. Emma was there, Farouk was there, Omolola was there, and the likes. But we also came into the scene, and we gave that good perception, we gave that good introduction, and we're back to back, back to back. Like the struggle was real. To the extent that we got to semis. The following year, after IBC, we participated in another competition, and we also did well. Then subsequently, we did, I think it was Expose, and this time around, the Light Tech was with Farhan, the former president of the UIS's club, and Light Tech won. So all these experiences were just fun for me outside of the class. Outside of the class, I always say my best experience has always been outside of the class. Trust me, I'm not really much of a class person. I just been in class and been listening and been enjoying myself. But where I've enjoyed myself the most has always been outside class.
Yeah. I don't know, you seem like a sweet talker that has everything going on to school.
That's the
Like,
facade.
all figured out.
That's the
That
facade.
was the next question. Have you ever had a challenging moment in school? Like, tell us about it. I really want. Deep breath. A
Well,
lot.
I'm serious. Well, challenging always about that sweet talker thing.
Oh,
Honestly, I'm not a sweet talker. It's just a facade, trying to max a lot of things. Trust me, I came in as a very very happy person, free mind, free guy, and all. And I had like everything all figured out. I came from a very good home. Yeah, credits to my parents as well. But I came into Unilorin, and I was staying with my aunt at first, and yeah, it was still looking like I was still being babied. So she moved to a longer distance, and it was time for me to get an apartment. So there was a struggle. There's a back and forth of why do you have to get an apartment when you have a family in Ilorin? So we had issue then. I had issue with my aunt, and I didn't just want to stay. Her husband was not happy with her that why would you do this? Is that you doing your family and all? And it wasn't nice for me. And personally, I didn't want to come to Ilorin because I don't want to stay with family. I've always never wanted to be. I don't know if my auntie will see this, but personally, my mom knows this. I always say that the only family I have are my mom, my dad, and my siblings. That's all. Any other person, my grandma, they are just there, and I appreciate you and do, but I don't just want to attach to myself. I don't want to talk about it too. But when it comes to challenging moments will be have to be I think let's talk about my academics first. I've never had issues with academics like that. I've never had issues with academics in terms of learning, in terms of reading. I think the only issue I've always had would be when you put in a particular kind of effort and then the results doesn't just show the effort. It was very, very challenging. But the good thing about it was that I like the fact that a lot of my colleagues and a lot of people expected that now Yomide is a lot more beyond that result. As it so, I didn't have to convince people anymore than this because it felt challenging that this guy, you where they read, you where they jack lights and see your result and all. It was very tough because my GP wasn't what I wanted it to be. And it saddens me, but then the results, GP, all those things, not be everything, sha. But I think that's one of my academics, the effort and the fact that the results are not just it for me. I think I later learned that the reason why it was like that was that I was too confident or too comfortable with the way I write exams. And I learned it from others. When I'm writing, while I'm doing 3, 4 pages, I observed that some of my colleagues were doing 7 to 8 pages. And I'm like, so that's the secret. And I'm like, why do they want so much over the quality? Well, I just left that. And I think another challenge will be um having to figure out like a career for myself. Like, what exactly do I want to do? What do I want to do? I think in 2020, that was when it all dawned on me that guy, you have to start something. You need to do something and all. Is it going to just going to be writing? Because for me, I wanted to publish books. And 2020, I was able to publish like two books or so on COVID and something else here and something else here. So I was like, I wanted to form a career for myself. I wanted to get a career for myself. I mean, and start something. And that's where design came in. I just had design as a hobby. I had design as a hobby, and I think I started with YouTube, and it was time for me to now go to a school. I was like, whatever I'm doing, I always like to do professionally. So I wanted to go to a professional school. I didn't see one. I knew some designers. I didn't just know how to meet them. That can you teach me this kind of stuff? But I was very dedicated. I think I had an accountability partner then in 200 level. She's not Femi. Yeah, I sent a list of stuff I wanted to achieve. And I told her, I'm watching YouTube video. All you just need to do is to remind me daily to submit whatever I've done. So that's it for me. This particular girl doesn't know that this stuff she did actually changed my life. But she just did it as normal thing. She was like, no problem. Hey, why? Let's just go there. And when it was time for me, I was able to gather money from doing small designs, and I was able to go to a professional school. I think how much did I pay there? Was it about 50 to 60,000 naira then for just 4 Saturdays? And trust me, it was life changing for me. 2020, 2021, it was life changing for me. And I started working. And the challenging moment of this was where you know your quality, you know what you can do, you know that this is what you can produce. But then a lot of people do not just rate you for that stuff that you can do. Or how do I put it? You're not getting, it's still the same thing like what I said in academics. You're not just getting the credits. You're not just getting that result and all for what you are doing. So it was quite challenging, but trust me, I've moved past this thing. So it was like past thing was past. Another challenging moment was my religious life, my spiritual life here. And I'm hoping to get back on it as soon as possible. I think 100 level, I came in, Jesus boy, church boy, 100%. We're there, Jehovah. In fact, it was like I was a pastor. I didn't relate to people. I don't sing some songs at all. And so I'm saying these things honestly because a lot of people always think that Yomide is this guy, Yomide is that, Yomide is this. Like I observed that the kind of perception. Recently, I started asking some of my colleagues, and I observed that the kind of perception they had about me was just too high. Like they experienced so much fun, and I'm like, guy, I'm as ordinary as you. I'm just a random guy on the on the road. I'm just as normal as you. I think the only thing that would just make us different was the fact that I just gained interest in some very controversial and book things like that. Maybe that's it, like a nerd kind of thing and all. Well, my religious life wasn't just it for me when I entered 200 level. COVID and all, we're not going to church now. So we came back to school, we're just there, 300 level. Trust me, other lives were going well, but at the expense of that religious life. And it wasn't for me because for me, at the end of the day, everything are vanity, right? Everything are vanity. And the most important thing is your relationship with God.
What has friendship taught you in school? I believe you're pretty much surrounded with friends and
Yeah.
you work with them, I know. So what has it taught you so far?
Friendship is like minds. Friendship is like minds. And friendship is like mine. That's one. And another angle of friendship is whoever you want to probably be in a relationship with, or whoever you want to marry at the end of the day. But for me, I always like calling them my guys because of how much bond we share and how much that the kind of conversations or the way we think is almost very similar, almost very very similar. Even though we are different in our personality and all, we're all different. Stephen Ahmad, Mo Will Israel and the likes, even though we are different in terms of personality, but we have like shared like minds. We are like, okay, this thing is supposed to be this way. This thing is supposed to be this way, and all. So I think what friendship has taught me is that I've always been that kind of lone wolf kind of person that wants to execute things on my, and that's why I always say in class, I don't like group work. Oh, I don't like group work. But trust me, if you put me in a group with my guys, I love it so much. There are a lot of things that we have done together. We stayed over in school to read. We stayed over in school to for competitions. Most of the RCon, FCLA, a lot of competitions, a lot of stuff that we've done together has really made us a lot more close. What is the lesson? What's the lesson? I think the lesson here is going to be that sometimes you cannot just walk on this path of life alone. Sometimes you need people that have like minds as you, and then these people will serve as a form of motivation. These people will also serve as a form of check. So it means that there are times where I'm out of the box and I'm like, ah, Yomide, you never do this thing, or Yomide, you never redo. You understand? So there are times where one of us is falling and the others are trying to raise the other guy up, and it's been like that for me. So we need people here.
Time where you thought about quitting school or everything because of a challenge you faced in school?
This question is going to make me think, honestly. Um, Honestly, there's always been times where I'm like, yeah, I think it's over, Jerry, and I'm tired. I'm really tired, and and the fact that it's not just only me, it's everybody. We all get to that stage. I think that's part of growing up. Yeah, it's part of growing up. I think for me, it's 400 level. Ah, I really do not like to talk about my experience, honestly, because each time people ask me, my mommy calls me too. I don't even tell my mom what I'm facing in school. She just, I hope you're going well. If I try to put it look like as though I'm doing so well, so she's like happy. So she doesn't have to bother. She's bothering about my siblings in Lagos, and I'm here. She won't have to bother me and all. But at times where I tell her that, mommy, this point in my life, please, this, that, this is that. There was a time where she was talking to me about something that happened in the house, and I'm like, I'm going through this and you're telling me this. Like, what's my business with all this? Like, there are times like that. There are times like that. Yeah, I think it has to be 400 level. And mm, I really cannot even picture the moments. Maybe because I've gone past it. Or honestly, 400 level was a very tough time. A very, very tough time. The fact that we went on IT. Yeah, we're just coming from Cyrus, and we experienced life in 6 months. And then that life was very awesome. We're getting paid. We're enjoying what we're doing, right? And then we came back to school.
You were getting paid. Not everybody goes to university and we're not paying a single penny.
Yeah, it is well. Yeah. True, true. I know a lot of people weren't getting paid, bro, and I really felt for them as well. And in fact, I was lucky that I was getting paid because I wasn't supposed to be paid. I was told that day that they don't pay intense. That but because of where I was going to be coming from, I was shortly Mushin and Maryland like that, Mushin Surulere like that. So my boss was like, okay, we are going to be giving you a transport support. That's what he called it. So in my head, I spend 22 to 25,000 per month on transport in Lagos. So, and I'm like, sure, you want to give me 20K for this kind of stuff? I know. But because of how I was doing the IT, how I worked my house out. Interns were supposed to resume anytime and leave like before 5. But I'm there very early in the morning. I'm leaving 6, 8. There was a time I left work around after 9 from where I was coming from, and they even had to order a ride for me and all. So I was working extra. For me, it wasn't like I'm interning. I was learning there, and I was enjoying what I was doing, even though there was really not so much of things they were going to teach me. Because most of the things that I don't really solve them, Jerry. Not to brag, but coming back from the IT, we came into 400 level, and trust me, it was really tough. It was really tough for me. I really cannot even paint one thing, but I'll be very honest with you. I feel like every day of my life in Unizori has just been very tough. From having to look at the way some staff of the university treat you, to the kind of things they want you to do, like go and do this clearance and oh, everything has just been very, very frustrating. Everything has just been very, very frustrating. And the fact that our lecturers too also I understand they're also facing the stress as well, but they're also not trying any of their bits um, to also reduce the stress on students. Like I can't paint one particular thing, but I'll be very honest. Every day of my life as a Illinoisite has been a whole lot for me and has been very, very stressful, challenging, frustrating, fascinating, profound, depressing, exhilarating, whatever the word is. I swear. I
That's a lot.
swear.
That's a lot. Have you ever had, so pick a word from this set of words. I just told about it. The first is trust, second betrayal, third love, and the last one fear. So you're meant to pick one out of these four words and tell us something about it, something you've experienced that relates to it. So love, trust, betrayal,
Fear.
fear.
Okay. I think I'll talk about love. Hi, she must not see this video. She must not see this video. Well, I won't even mention her name though, so that won't be off camera.
Oh my god.
So, yeah, for the very first time in my life, I've experienced lust where you get attracted to a lady. I'm talking about love in terms of relationship and all. I've loved a lot of people. I love people a lot. In fact, for me, my life is based on love because I believe that the essence of God having to come to someone like us or someone like me is because of the love He has for me. So when I look at people, I look at them from the perspective of love, from the angle of love, and that's why for me, I don't know how to judge people. I don't know how to condemn people. So it's like when somebody does something dark, when something. In fact, I just wrote a story recently, Butu Asha, on my Medium page, and I was just trying to describe what's in my head, how that uh, um, regardless of how deep you have gone in terms of darkness and how much you've done a lot of harm and the likes, there's always that love that can pick you up from that depth. There's always that love that can brighten your darkness and all. So that's how I look at life. So when I see people, I believe that things can change for people with just ordinary love. You understand? So when it came to me for the relationship part here, for the very first time in my life, I think I liked someone so much. I don't want to use the word love. I liked someone so much to the extent I even told her. I told her. I think it was after my final exam for first semester. I told her. I just called her after exam and I'm like, I think I've been observing her for a while since 100 level. Well, I'm like, now lost, Charlie, now infatuation. So, but for me, I decided to make the move because I didn't want to regret it after. I've never spoken to a girl that I liked her before. Yeah, I've told girls that I like you, I like you, but this particular one was from a deep feeling. And I was very, very, I tried as much as possible to be sure that it was actually true love. That I really like this person. But the gap is this, the barrier is this. As much as I like this person so much that I think about the person a lot of times, I look at the person's picture and all, I'm not ready for anything commitment. You know, with love comes commitment, with love comes giving and all. But that commitment part, me, I'm not ready. The reasons are this. One, I feel like I'm still growing. I'm not even a grown man yet. I can't date a lady or be in a relationship with a lady. Do I am now? Because I don't want to be a burden to you. Two, financially, I'm not there. Spiritually, that's like the major thing here. For me to even be in a relationship, I need to be spiritually strong and solid to be in that one. I believe in love, I believe in relationship, I believe in marriage and all of those things. But I also believe in self-development. I believe in self-awareness. I believe in self-readiness before even embarking on stuff like this. And I told her, and I trust telling for me. I don't know whether she likes me back or loves me back. That was really none of my business, what she thinks at that moment for me. But what was important for me was that I needed to say and express my feelings to her. And whatever she says, whatever she thinks, and luckily she wasn't even ready. She didn't even give me a response of whether she liked me or not. And that was dealing for me, though. Although I was concerned about her response too, but I'm not ready to put anybody that kind of burden of, I think I like him. What should I tell him to please him? And nah, I'm not ready. I just told you for telling sake. So just know that and just keep it at the back of your mind. And while I'm there, while I'm loving you, I'm also praying. There was a time I was praying about it. In fact, there was a time I was even praying against it. too, because I don't like the idea of that kind of distraction. But somebody kept on telling me it's not a distraction. The next time I even told mom herself, told my mom, and then my mom was like, she prayed about it. She prayed about it, and it was like, it's a good thing, and there's nothing wrong with it. And I'm like, when she was trying to dip it, I said, Mom, don't go there. Don't go there. Let's just fash it and just drop it. I know. So that's the love. I don't want this to be the video, but then, no, yeah, but that's the chat for me.
Yeah, the part because like definitely going to proceed. So
Definitely. I
I
don't care. I'm
when
graduating.
thinking of podcast, people say, "What is a safe space to speak?" I'm like, bro, thousands of people are going to see this thing. I think it's a safe space,
Safe
not
space.
safe
There's no
space.
safe space.
And when you say me like you be judged.
But you be judged when they post it.
Like the comment section.
Same thing.
They have to know your secret. So Yomide likes a lady. And yeah, by the way, this one, by the way, I know some girls like me too as well, in class or outside class, department, faculty, and all. So it now looks like, Yomide is taken already, or Yomide is this. Well,
You want to keep their hopes alive.
now I'm not keeping their hopes alive.
That's what you're doing. Sorry,
Because even my hope self is not my life in this person. I just have the person on board and in my head, but I'm not open. I don't even know what to say, but I'm not open, Sha. And I'm not interested in anyone. But you can always like me and we can be friends and we can do stuff together. We could be useful to each other, but you see that relationship thing, just take it out.
Okay. Talk to us about pressure, peer pressure, family pressure, pressure from friends. When you see yourself that you feel like, do you even have pressure like on yourself, like personally, like okay, I'm meant to be here. My family sees me to be here. I'm not there yet. My friends, everybody. There's a way people will address you, and you know that I never reached this level.
Actually,
So like, tell us about it.
well, I don't think peers pressure me. In fact, I'm the one that usually pressure my peers. So I pressure my peers. I don't think people pressure me into anything. From secondary school, I've always been the one pressuring things and putting pressure on people to do stuff and all. Like, you can do this now. Waiting with this. Bro, you can get this skill. You can do this. You can do anything. Like, I pressure people to think that way. And it's because of how I pressure myself. I do the most of the pressuring of myself. So yeah, there are times where especially in design, and I think what helped me overcome this was I looked at the quality of work I'm doing because at that time then I was designing something and I looked at the money I was getting for it. I think this was the experience I had in my design school. Um, I looked at the money I was receiving for a particular design and somebody was doing something worse and I was receiving more. I was not looking at it that what's this? Like I should be receiving this kind of amount and all and the like. So it was a pressure for me, for even from colleagues and from friends as well too. But I think what helped me overcome it was that I always do this thing called gratitude. Man, gratitude is the solution to any form of pressure. Like gratitude works big time. So what gratitude is for me is this. So I'm like, hey, you're supposed to be here, you're supposed to be this, you're supposed to be that, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, man, if I think as much I'm supposed to be this, that. But when I look at my life 4 or 5 years back, and I see what I was designing, and I see what I'm designing, I'm like, guy, you're doing well. Nah, you're doing well. You're doing well. Like sometimes I started off with using CorelDRAW, right? Like I always say that. And I saw the designs I was doing on CorelDRAW and I moved on to Photoshop. Like it was so fast. So the fact that it was fast for me is enough reason for me to give thanks. It's enough reason to be grateful for it and all. And I'm like, and what I used to motivate myself is that if within 4 or 5 years of being a Unilorite, as a student, I was able to achieve this kind of stuff, and I've worked with a lot of brands that I'm happy that I was part of their story. Example is Shop with Eunice. Yeah, I thought I was planning on writing a story on my LinkedIn page of how we started. I think we started in 200 level and now on 400 level. And I'm sure she must have sold a lot of backpacks within just this short span. You understand? This is a free ad for Shop with Eunice, by the way. So I'm looking at being a student, I'm able to achieve these little things. I call them big stuff, not little. How much more when I'm done with school? Like, give me 3 years, bro. That's the confidence for me. That's confidence for me. But I'm grateful. But like I said, the solution to pressure is gratitude. Just go back, reflect, and see how much more you've done. Like how much you've been able to amass on your own. It may not be money, nah, but there's that development. Like there's that respect. There's that value. Yeah. And my friends, my colleagues will be like, guy, this guy too sabi this thing. You know this. And I'm like, not true. I actually sabi. Although sometimes I don't appreciate myself enough. But sometimes when I reflect, I try to stay grateful because that's what helps me. And I'm like, bro, in just 2 years of consistency, there's a lot you can actually achieve. There's a lot you can actually achieve, and that's it. But I'm still young to be putting myself on one kind of pressure. Like gone are the days. In fact, this generation, we are so much pressured. Gone are the days. In your 20s, you're still in school now. Your 20s, you've not made money. Like there's nothing like making money in your 20s then. It was school, education then. Or it was you under a particular person. You are learning. That's it then. Money making was in your 40s or your 30s. But we in our generation, we're already making money in our 20s. In our 18, 19, they're making big money and all. And that's the crazy pressure. Now calm down. You still have a long way to go. Even though we know life is short, but calm down. 2, 3 years. I'm still under my parents now. I've not left their house. Let me finish and I'm still a student. And all. So those pressures of my friends and beg.
So tell us, what activities do you engage in to unwind, have fun?
Online.
Unwind.
Oh, okay, activities do I engage.
Yeah.
The activities I engage in, a lot of people see it as being weird, but for me, they are fun things to do. And because I'm a designer, somebody told me, yeah, somebody asked that, what do you do when you are not designing? What do you do when you are not working on design? I said, I'm feeding my eyes, I'm feeding my head, I'm feeding my mouth, I'm feeding my nose, I'm feeding my body, I'm feeding my sense and all. What do I mean by that? Randomly, I just go to designs, I check designs, and I'm like watching how people are drawing fonts, how people are drawing types, how people are creating colors, how people are discussing about color wheel. Like to other people, these things are weird, but to me, I love them so much. I love them so much. And I think one more other thing I do for fun is talk. I love to talk to people. I love to talk to people. Yeah, I love to. Especially my friends. I love to talk to girls too. They are very smart. Like sometimes they can be very, very. They have this how do I put it? There's this kind of not so tough conversations, very relatable conversations, and girls really know how to give advice. Man, they really know how to give support. They really know how to give that backup. Man, that gender is awesome.
Okay. If you know what you know now, what are you going to tell your younger self before coming to the
With what I know now, what would I tell my younger self? First of all, I know I can never have my younger self again. It's like trying to relive the past. I cannot have my younger self again. But um, my younger self is my younger brother. I consider my younger brother as my younger self. So everything that I know now that I should have done, or everything that I should have paid attention to more, maybe because of ignorance or because of lack of discipline and or I couldn't do them, I couldn't achieve them. So now I'm now trying to get back on track, trying to hustle and do all of those stuff. So I usually tell my younger brother. Some of the things I tell my younger brother is this: one, discipline. Like every young man has to be so disciplined. And I'm talking about discipline for how you spend money, discipline for how you talk to people, discipline for how you arrange your house, discipline for how you arrange your bed, discipline for how you arrange your time and all. Then another thing again I always tell my brother is this. I'll tell my younger self is this. Money is not it. It's not money, it's value. It's never money at all, it's value. Like you don't need that money now. Serious, you don't need the money now, honestly. Money is important, yeah, but you don't need it. Money is a fucking distraction. Yeah. Aside that, again, one thing I always tell him is this. My younger brother has a skill. He draws. And he draws fonts. He does graffiti. And also I always tell him that skill, always work out your ass. Make sure you're the best at that thing you know. Like know so much about it that people are like, does this thing really exist? So know so much about that field, know so much about that field. So I'm telling him, watch videos, ask questions, attend events and all. So that's what I do. And now he cannot attend events. And I'm like, me too, I couldn't attend events, but I showed him some platforms he can use, Behance, Pinterest, YouTube. Check out what people are doing around this stuff. How can you monetize? How can you make it something that you're very much good at? And another thing again is this. He didn't have in my own case. I had gadgets for the skills that I was learning. In his own case, he doesn't have a gadget. So I'm like, guy, you don't have a gadget, but there's something people usually use then. And that was Sketchpad and pencil, 2D, 3D pencil. So I told him, get your own sketch pad. He bought his own big one and he was drawing and he was doing that. So he sends me his work and I review it and I'm like, okay, fantastic. Do something else again. Write people's name and just keep drawing it. So for me, the fact that you do not have gadgets is not an excuse, honestly. I told him, I said, bro, I said, you do not have all these gadgets, but you're already making this quality of work on papers. Now imagine if I now get you a gadget, you're going to be doing awesome. So you won't have to bother trying to learn the skill. It's just like something Les Brown says. I told my brother, I said, it's better to be prepared and not have an opportunity than have an opportunity and not be prepared. So the idea is for anything, for everything, just be prepared. So that's what I'll tell my younger self, and that's what I'm telling my younger brother. I just don't want him to repeat the same mistake. And that's one more thing again I always tell him. Although I was never a victim of it, but in his own case, he's a fine boy, so girls are around. He's a tall boy, looking good and all, so girls are always around. Distraction. Sometimes I'm in my house. My friends don't come to look for me in my house. I don't have friends at home that will not say, hey, why? Maybe storm for your place and all, but I don't have that kind of thing. But in his own case, I'm sometimes I'm at home and I want my peace. And my younger brother's friends will just come in, girls. Black, black, black. There, five and girls just come into the house. Very small, small girls. They are talking, gisting, talking about all sort of nonsense. I understand it's a teenage life. It's a Gen Z kind of life and all. But I always tell him, I said, nah, you don't need those girls. No, I'm telling you, you don't need those girls. He has a lot of friends. He has a lot of friends. So those are the things. Me, in my own case, I didn't have friends while I was growing up. It's even now I started having friends now. So those are the things I'll tell my younger self. Be disciplined with your time. Be disciplined with your money. And there's no excuse anywhere. Harness your skill, or it is better to be prepared and not have an opportunity than have an opportunity and not be prepared. And then reduce the numbers of people you work with. Like, I think there's a stage that you should have a friend, and there's a stage that you shouldn't have a friend, honestly. And I feel like my stage, I actually do need a friend. And yeah, I got these guys, those bad homeless boys. Yeah, so our friendship wasn't that we called ourselves and let's be friends. There was this like-mindedness that brought us together. And you know what funny thing is happened to my younger brother? He applied for school the first year after finishing secondary school. He didn't get admission. So most of those his friends are now leaving him one by one, one by one. So only few are there with him. And I can imagine what will be going on his head. So sometimes you tell him, this person is already in school. And I'm like, guy, calm down. They're in school. But you're already harnessing something. You already have a skill that you're working on, and there you are there. Like, don't compare yourself with anyone and all. Yeah, that's also what I'll tell my younger self as well. So by the time you grow, you just see that you start attracting like minds. And the right friendship, the right group of people will just come, and that's how it works.
Think you did that changed that? Was it you approaching people to be your friend, convincing people to be your friend, or making effort to like be comfortable and friendly with people so that they can, get you into their circle or something like
I
that?
think what I did one was trying to um, do much of like, I don't want to call it coming down to people's level. Nah, I was never above their level though. But I did something. I tried to relate with every and anybody. I didn't belittle anybody. I don't think there's anybody greater. I don't think there's anybody lesser. So I related with people randomly and all. And in fact, someone was just telling me recently in our class that I was telling her of one experience that I observed that people feel intimidated by me. Then I told her. Then she now said herself. She confessed. She said, "Oh, I actually feel intimidated by you." I'm like, "Oh, why? Like, how come?" And I was not happy when she said that. And I'm like I'm down to it, and I'm this, and that. I'm everybody. I talk to anybody. In fact, in class, I'll just go randomly and greet people that normal people will not greet. You know, there are some people in class that I cannot greet them directly, just go on there. But me, I'll greet everybody. I make sure I hear what you are saying. I want to hear from you. I want to see you. I want to talk to you. So I talk to anybody and all. So when she said she was intimidated by me, I was like, this is not the first time I'm hearing it. So, and then I think in the case of the girl, like, I went to meet her and told her, let's be friends.
So you've been a student for over 4 years, mass communication. Yeah. Would you take a billion naira to do this all over again? To do this all over again. Same about the same lecturers.
A billionaire. No, I won't. I don't need this experience 2 times.
I proved that most of my classmates won't do this again.
I don't want to know how much you're going to give me. I don't want to go through this a second time. Honestly, I just want to live and go on with my life. And to be honest, like I always tell people, I said, once I'm leaving, I'm very honest, I'll leave a lot of our groups. I only leave my class group. Now I love those guys so much. So I'll leave faculty design, freshers. In fact, to be honest, I don't even think I want to have some freshers number because I don't want to be in a situation whereby I'm having my life and I'm doing something important and I'm now seeing people's status complaining about the exam, complaining about that thing is really traumatizing. Wallah, honestly, I don't want to be in that kind of situation. So I don't want to hear people talk about learning much. Let's talk about something out, like after school, honestly. So I don't want to know how much they want to give me. I'm big. I know they do. I know they do. For where?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Wrap up.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been a very, very good session, and I'd really like to do this again. Not in Unilore, but somewhere else. And yeah, my name is Yomide Atolagbe, preferably known as Yomide, a final year student of the Department of Mass Communication, University of Ilorin. And this is my story. Cheers.